Hi, thank you for listening. This is Sherry Andrea, and I'm coming to you to answer another question, which is why do you never see psychics winning the lottery? Actually, there is an explanation for that. First of all, for me to answer the question, I have to explain to you what this psychic information that's given really is. What psychics are reading is an energy, and there are what's called potentials. For example, let's say that you're in grade school or high school. Now you're studying really, really hard. You seem to be good in many subjects. You're just, maybe you get all A's in math, you get all A's in science. So I could say, even as a guidance counselor, there is a potential that exists out there. There's a potential for you to become a doctor. There's a potential for you to become a mathematician. There's a potential for you to become a professor in both of those subjects. There's a potential that exists. Well, when psychic readings are given, the information that is being given is, when it comes to the future, is a potential. Now, sometimes what is read in a psychic reading, and the reason why you see that psychics being accurate when it comes to past information, is because it's an energy that exists. Everything is energy. And psychics are sensitive to energy and have the ability to read it. Now, when I say psychics, I don't just mean psychics. I mean everyone has that ability to develop those things. Firefighters, police officers, they are often highly intuitive, and it keeps them safe. Sometimes they get a gut feeling to move to a certain area, to get down, just when the shots ring out. And that's their intuition kicking in. Sometimes you're driving on a highway and you get a strong feeling to slow down. And then another mile up the road, you pass a police officer that's trying to catch people speeding. Well, that's your intuition kicking in. That is a psychic ability. So even those who are naysayers of psychic abilities, they are the naysayers of psychic abilities who actually have psychic abilities. Because everyone has some abilities. They may not be fully developed psychics who can give readings, but everyone has some psychic abilities, even if it's just a little bit of intuition. And it works for them when they need it to. They utilize it. They may not be living life relying on it, but they have it. So now, getting to the question, so what I've explained is that we're reading potentials. Okay, now let's take the lottery, for example. The lottery, going to Las Vegas. These are things that are games of chance. Right now, at this very moment, I don't know what the lottery numbers on Wednesday, tomorrow, are going to be. Why? Because that doesn't exist yet. The only thing that I can say is, numbers are going to be picked. It's a potential. The number 2 has the same potential to come up as the number 10. Now, maybe one has a greater potential, but these are games of chance that are very difficult for anyone to read. That's why you don't see a whole bunch of wealthy psychics that have won the lottery. This is not an easy potential to read. Remote viewers, there are some really good remote viewers out there that are able to remote view another location. However, even if they have also precognizance, being able to see into the future, how do you see a future that doesn't exist yet? Those numbers haven't been drawn yet. How would you like me to read them? How do you expect me to read something that hasn't happened yet? Because it's a game of chance. Now, you may say, okay, but wait a minute. If somebody said, I'm in a relationship, how's that going to go? You're able to give them an answer. You're able to tell them, oh, I see, it's not going to work out. There's going to be an argument and there's going to be a breakup. You're going to go through a period of mourning and then you're going to get over it and you're going to meet this other guy. Yes, I've done many readings that sound like that. I'm reading a potential. And that's not the only potential that exists out in the future. So why is it, if another potential exists for that relationship to work and for them to stay together for the next 50 years, why is it that I didn't say that? Why is it that that's not what I read and said to the person? Because the potential that is the greatest is the one that's going to have a stronger energy to it, and that's the one that is going to be read. That's the one that we're going to pick up on. The potentials that are very small, the energy for them is not as strong. So we're not going to get those. We're not going to pick up on those. However, like I said, games of chance, it hasn't been decided yet. And if you think of what the lottery, that actual game consists of, the balls are in that machine and there's air blowing. Who knows? Maybe the machine is going to work slightly different that day. And that's going to affect the potential as well. Maybe someone is going to make the decision to come up and stick their hands in there and mix those balls up. And now, even if I did give a reading where I gave out lottery numbers, oh, wait a minute. Now somebody has at the last minute decided to do something. And because of a choice or a decision someone made, it changed the potential. That's why whenever I give readings and people are asking about relationships or jobs or careers, I always remind them what we're reading, it's a potential. The future is not set in stone. Therefore, if you don't like this potential outcome that I've told you about, change it. The future is not set in stone. Decisions and choices that you make will change what ends up happening. So, getting a reading that has to do with the future, is it still useful? Yeah, it is. It can be. Depends on how the person utilizes that information. Maybe they realize, maybe I've told them, no, I'm not seeing that you're not going to find a job before 6 months. And this is just no good. They've got bills to pay. Well, now the information that I've given them, yes, that can't be helpful and useful to them because whatever they're doing right now, it may be working, but unfortunately, they're not going to get the job as soon as they need to. So maybe there's something that they can change. Maybe there's something different that they can do. Maybe they can kick it up a notch and send out even more resumes than they have been. Maybe there is some stones that they haven't unturned that now they can unturn, to change the potential. So that is the answer for why psychics don't win the lottery. And I can tell you one other thing that's interesting. When it comes to working on developing my clairsentience, which is the ability to feel energy, one of the ways I actually used to practice is with scratch-off tickets. If I had to, go to 7-Eleven or Circle K convenience store to buy something, sometimes I would look at the different scratch-off tickets and try to read the energy of them. And then I would purchase the ticket and scratch it. And I won many times. However, interesting enough, I only ever broke even. So even all those times I won, if I spent $5, I won $5. If I spent $1, I won $1. Very rarely did I spend $1 and win $2. Some people do believe that when it comes to abilities, that they that abilities cannot be used in that way for personal gain. And there are some that believe that. What do I believe? I believe that it is, if it is not against the will of God, that yes, the abilities that you have, even if it's just because of your spiritual level of advancement, the ability that you have to manifest things by simply just asking God for this and that, asking God for help because it's almost time to pay your mortgage and you don't have the money and you have no idea how you're going to get it. Even just to ask God for help with things like that. Ask God for help with, you've got a relative who's sick. Even things like that. There is, you may have the ability, because of your spiritual level of advancement, for those things to happen, to get the help that you need, if it is not against God's will. So if it's not against God's will, these things are possible. So you might say, well, then why can't you say, God, if it's not against your will, can I win the lottery? What you want and what you really need are two different things. I believe that often what the universe many times is giving us is what we need. And then it's a little bit more difficult sometimes to get from the universe what we want but may not need. Do I need to win the lottery? Do I need to win $100 million? Well, it's not, I don't need that much money. I mean, you may want that much money, but you may not need that much money. And the universe picks that up. The universe sees that. Oh, wait a minute. You know, the things I've seen her focusing on, I've seen this person focusing on, you know, getting a Hyundai, and well, a Hyundai doesn't cost $100 million. And I've seen them focused on wanting a little bit of a larger house to live in, but it doesn't cost $100 million. I've seen them focusing on wanting a new wardrobe. Well, but again, it doesn't cost $100 million. So the universe is not going to be able to put that together for you to go, okay, I see. They're focused on, all these things are focused on wanting totals $100 million. I need to help them win the lottery. No, often the things that we're focused on do not require that much money. So the question is, maybe if you start, and I'm speaking of the law of attraction, maybe if you start desiring and wanting to buy an island, and that island would cost you $100 million, you would have a better chance of winning the lottery. When using the techniques of the law of attraction is what I'm saying. So that is the answer to why psychics don't win the lottery. It would be nice, but really, I think it's probably a good thing that psychics don't win the lottery. If all psychics had the ability to pick those numbers and win the lottery, can we actually say that all psychics would do the right thing with that money? You know, yeah, sure, everybody says, if I had that opportunity, I would get into philanthropy. I would help people. But as we know, many people that have won the lottery, their lives have actually been ruined by it. You know, they haven't done any good and their lives have been ruined by it. Many people have been killed over it. So we can't really say that if psychics had the ability to win the lottery, that they would all do good things with that money. Yeah, I believe many would, but the reality is not all would. Also, is it in line with their karma? That's another thing to consider. I'm sorry, but even if somebody did have the ability to pick those winning numbers, that may not be in line with the karma that they're weighed down by. If they're weighed down by a lot of karma, even if they have that ability, the universe isn't going to let it happen. The universe and God it's just, it's right, always trying to keep things in balance. So if a person has a lot of karma, winning the lottery is just, it's not going to happen. Maybe they'll win a little bit of money here and there. But the universe is going to try to keep things in balance. It's going to try to keep things fair. I know. Life's not fair. The world's not fair. What about all this bad news you see? Okay, that's for another video. Because there's an answer to that too. And you're right. You're absolutely right. How can we say that the universe keeps everything fair and in balance when it doesn't seem like it is? That's a perspective. It doesn't seem like it's fair and it's just because karma doesn't come around to us immediately. If I say something wrong, I am not immediately struck by lightning. Karma doesn't work that quickly. So yes, what we perceive is that the world's not fair because karma doesn't, it doesn't snap back on us quickly. It takes a little bit of time for karma to play out. And so, yeah, there is that perception, that view that, well, wait a minute, the universe isn't really keeping things in perfect order. It looks that way. But in fact, it is. It's, things always balance out. If you give them time, they will. Thank you, and I hope that answered your question. If you would like to find me or get personal development coaching, law of attraction coaching, if you'd like to learn how to use it, I do coaching for advanced teachings in the law of attraction. I've helped many people to achieve the career changes they've wanted, increases in money at jobs that they've wanted, to get them way closer to achieving large goals. So feel free to contact me through sherryandrea.com. Remember, the radio show where we do psychic readings is every night. Every Tuesday and Friday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's on Blog Talk Radio, and that's blogtalkradio.com/Seekers of Truth. And we would love to see you there, love to take your questions. I hope you have a great day. Namaste.